So, yeah, like I said earlier, there's not a whole load I want to go through.
There was some
There's
setup
one.
things that Losty pointed out on Volskaya with the 6-man dive, how to set it up.
Yeah.
He really disagreed with standing right side as you did.
Oh yeah, no, that wasn't actually that good, but it's more important that you guys are just playing together than anything else. Like, that's not setting up. Like, yeah, that wasn't the best spot to set up, but I don't want you focusing on stuff like that, because that's not why you're losing fights. It's not even close to the reason. Like, yeah, it wasn't optimal
But we won
at
the
all,
fights,
really.
I mean.
But, I mean, yeah, you won the fight, but it's like, even when you lose fights, the setup 9 times out of 10 isn't the reason you lose it. So I don't want you focusing on that.
Yeah.
That's the wrong button. Right, so there are a bunch of things. I think I'm actually gonna do this in a different order. When that fight comes. Right, hang on. Let me find which fight it is. It was just after you lost first. Fuck.
I would be able to see something.
Alright. Okay, so there were some, like, small mistakes here that didn't look small but were actually huge.
Are you streaming?
Yeah,
I'm not streaming, hang on, I was about to. Alright, cool. Yeah, do not disturb. Alright, actually, I'm gonna rewind it a bit. Okay, so. Okay, right, so already into this fight, there are some minor mistakes that, well, no, they look minor, but they're actually pretty big. You guys wanna hazard a guess what they are?
Spark, maybe Spark being
Maybe, okay, yeah, so I'm actually gonna get onto Spark afterwards because there's other
No,
stuff that's going on.
Spark, it actually worked though when Spark went.
It shouldn't have. Spark is feeding his brains out here. And the thing is though, it's like, you say it worked, but it took him so, like, the only time he got a kill was when they all funneled into here to kill him, right?
And healed.
And he ulted. Like, he didn't get any value from standing here.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go into that a bit more after, but like, whatever. What's the issue here? What's the issue here?
Well, a minor thing I think is just did I use fly off cooler. When
Right.
I can clearly just stand at the edge and spam from there.
Yes, exactly. So it's like, yeah, again, it looks minor, but it isn't. Because if your team wants to go in now, and they jump whatever, right? You don't have your shift ability, so you can't just fly in and gank the backline or anything. You can't just fly in and gank the Moira or gank the Doom or gank the Echo or whatever. You basically just stack with your team and become worse tall, because you can't actually fly and do anything. So you need to make sure that you have, and this goes for everyone here. You need to make sure that you have your movement cooldowns when you engage, because otherwise you can't really do anything. Like, if you engage while Kevin doesn't have flight, all Kevin can do is spam. He's not gonna half angle, he's not gonna get picks, he's just gonna poke out from main. And then that's half your damage gone, right? That being said, burning cooldowns at the start of the fight, do you think what Pup did here was wrong? And if I rewind it, you see he uses boosters very early. Like, around here? Ignore the fact that they've killed Echo, because, you know, maybe in a different fight Echo lives, or Echo gets peeled, or she gets healed, or she dupes, whatever. Is Pup using that to try and go for the Echo alright?
Maybe he's basically basically next to the fight anyway. If there were a fight, if there was a fight.
Yes, but that's not what you need. You need to make sure you have your cooldowns to engage, right? Because if you go on without cooldowns, like I just explained, you just can't get anything done, really. Hang on. Is what Pup did here okay?
No. Or actually, yes, because he has his cooldowns left, I suppose.
Yes. Exactly, perfect. This is fine, because even if this Echo lived, right, they still have their cooldown. They can still go in, and it's like, yeah, they're not with the team, but they're not split from the team either, right? Being split doesn't mean not being stacked or not being right on top of each other. Being split means putting a wall between you and your team, right? So, example, Spark. Right? Because Spark's just put a wall straight in front of everyone. And this is... So yeah, you don't really want to... You know, you need to make sure you're going in with the tanks. And also, like, the thing is here is... This comp, you can't just stand around in a choke at all, right? You can't hold like a normal comp. Like, yes, like, I know it's called, like, Neo Goats and everything, but it's not like that in the sense that you don't have the sustain. It's just, which means you can't just stuff a choke like this. Yeah, here it's just Spark, but, like, you know, I'm just want to point this out. You can't, like, you need to wait for them to come out so that you can just jump them, right? That's why you're fine giving them chokes. Because as soon as they walk through the choke, they don't have any corners to kite to. Which means you can just collapse on them. The thing with, like, what Spark does it, and he blocks a choke, is that he is not getting follow-up whatsoever. Because the cart is stuck here, and, like, Memorial and Lucio are there, like, he's split from his team. Like, if he was just, like, down here, like, hang on, let me get Epic Pen out. Like, if Spark was here, let's say, and the cart was here, he wouldn't be split from the team, right? Because this isn't there. Does that make sense?
We don't see Epic Pen. You need to...
Don't say Epic Pen. Oh shit, yeah, sorry.
Window and then...
Yeah.
Screen share.
My bad, my bad.
Oh. There we go.
Okay, so, yeah. So, like I was saying, if Spark was... If the cart came out to here and Spark was by here, it would be alright. Because, you know, the supports would then be like here instead of here. It's like he wouldn't be split from the team, because yes, the team are over here, but, you know, there isn't this wall between them. Does that make sense? So he's not actually split. Here he is, though. But, like, yeah, so you don't really want to use any kind of cooldowns pre-fight, so that you have them when you go in, and you don't want to, you know, engage early either, because it means you're just going to get forced out using your cooldowns to leave. Also, yeah, that was a little bit about setup that I mentioned, and I do want to go over that to try and, so that you can use it as kind of a general principle. Like, this team, yeah, you're absolutely fine giving them chokes and everything, because if you give them this choke here, then where do they stand, right? It's like, yay, they have the choke. Where do they walk out to? Let's say they walk out to here. Oh no, we're getting pushed. Where do we kite to? There's no corners nearby. And then they just lose. Like, you're absolutely, like here on the fence. It's like, generally when you play in here, you'll see, like, when they come up to here, they'll get jumped, and that's because, like, you know, it's like, I know you don't hold this corner anyway, but it's like the same principle with this choke. It's just like, once they're far enough around, it's like you're fine giving them this space, because as soon as they're here, they can't kite anywhere, they can't back off anywhere, which means they're free for you to just go boing. And that would be, you know, exactly the same through the choke. If you're holding, let's say, like, here or something, for some unknown reason, this isn't a good spot, and I do not encourage you to play here. I just want to make that very clear. This is just educational purposes. You're absolutely fine giving them this choke and letting them walk out to here, because as soon as they're here, you can just jump the backline. So this is a really nice thing to think about when you're setting up. It's mainly for Cannon, however, you know, everyone can help with Cannon's decision making, right? Everyone should be feeding him information, and then he makes the final decision.
Yeah.
Or even, like, space if you're confident in doing the fight planning and whatever. That does help sometimes, but, you know, it's very fine with main tank doing it, and generally it's easier as well, but, you know. Right, trying to think of anything else to say. Oh, shit. Yeah. So that was... So that's kind of it, really. There wasn't anything else major I wanted to say. It's literally just make sure you're not stuffing chokes, because that did happen. There was a fight, like, when you lost first, what was the fight? I'll rewind and see if I can get roughly there, but if it's not, I'm just going to draw X's. Oh, well, yeah, that's actually perfect. Yeah, so if I turn on spectator overlay, you can see there's an absolute train wreck on your screen, right? Like, this isn't a fight you want to take. That makes sense? Like, you can see, you know, your main tank's 1 HP, your Moira's trying to make it back, your Echo's way out the fight. You know? Right, so if I show you what happens... Let me actually, hang on, let me... I'll go back 10 seconds and turn off spectator overlay. Get a better angle. I go back here, I'm gonna let the fight play out. Oh, why is it? Doesn't matter. Right. Okay, so I'm gonna let this bit play out, and I want to see if you can tell me what actually went wrong here.
We are actually setting up where you said we should never set it. Left side.
What do you mean, like here?
Yeah, but a little more forward.
Yeah, no, that's not what, like... Setup was the reason you lost, but that's not what I'm looking for, if that makes sense. It's more to do with where you're playing around. Like, you did the thing I told you not to do, like, just then, is that you just you just held the choke, right? You just plugged the choke with your tanks. Like, you set your monkey here, your D.Va was around it, and you all, like, this isn't good, right? Because as you can see, it's like, yeah, the Moira came back, like, sure, the Moira was late to the fight, but the Moira got there. The monkey had the Moira pocket. He died because he was just stood in the open. Like, this is kind of what I mean when I say you want to go fast with the comp. It just means fast as in, you can't stay in these open places like you would with a brawl comp or a spam comp. You can't stay in the open and poke, because you will lose the poke battle and you'll also lose the sustain battle, right? Because Moira has juice. Every other flex support has a reload. Which means that if you're not hard engaging, you need to be hard disengaging. And this is for anyone to call. Like, you do want, and you can decide, like, Space, would you be confident doing this if you could call or make the final decision of when to engage, or not really when to engage, but when to disengage and call when a fight's lost? Would you be comfortable to make that decision?
I don't know. Maybe.
And just call, like... Obviously, right, what would happen is everyone else on your team would feed you this information. Like, everyone can see, like, you know, Moira would probably be able to see it because they're relatively far back. You know, DPS are probably going to get caught up in 1v1s, and, you know, it's important they win that, so that's whatever. Like, that's not expected. But, you know, like, your Lucio, your D.Va, even your, like, literally anyone can call this. It's just a matter of doing it, right? So if you see, like, you know, that you're not winning a fight, but it's just kind of this. Like, it's alright to kind of, like, it's the wrong comp to poke them out, but if you are gonna poke them out, you kind of just need to, like, just cleave and leave, right? You can't stay here, which is what lost. But yeah, so it's for anyone to call out, but yeah, Space, and this is like, yeah, Space, you're going to call when a fight is lost for your team. That cool? Okay, so if Space says a fight is lost, or to disengage, even if it's just like the fight isn't lost and you just want to regroup, like you can just, you know, back off to here, give them some space, and then wait. Oh, Echo's back, and then you re-engage. Like, that's fine. Just, anyone can call stuff like this, like anything they see, they can say it. But Space, your word is law, right? If he says something, you follow it. That is new roll, very pogger. But yeah. So, if you're not hard engaging, you need to be hard disengaging. Or setting up, like, you know. You can't just plug the choke with tanks in this comp because you lose. But yeah, that was just kind of it. Like, they're the main things I want you to focus on. I don't want to give you too much, because, you know, just to make sure that those things get drilled into you. Because if you, like, drill those things into you properly, you could take on way better teams than Leo with this comp, honestly. Because you are good at it. It is... yeah, you're very nice at this comp. But yeah, just like those things drawn into you, so making sure that you're setting up and not splitting, also not splitting during the mid fight, but you don't wanna yeah, so just make sure you're not using cooldowns at the start of fights, and making sure you have them to engage. And also yeah, just it's fine to let them take chokes and whatever, so that you can just hop on the backline and they can't kite away. Just don't plug the choke with tanks. Just those two things, that's kind of it. Any questions?
No.
Anything? Alright, cool. Well, that's it for the VOD review then.